No, no buzz. A Just Bees book club. I don't think this is gonna be out by the time. Oh yeah, I guess this is not coming out till July. So I just read Silver Nitrate, an advanced reader copy. Silvia Moreno-Garcia is forthcoming, and I liked it. Uh, it's a very weird thing. I was talking with my coworker who's like a much, much, much bigger fan of Moreno Garcia than I am, even though I think I talked about this a little bit in the Certain Dark Things episode that I did not that long ago. Um, of Mexican Gothic. I think Mexican Gothic it was the best book I read in 2020, like fucking, uh, by a margin, I would say. It's in many ways perfect to me. But my coworker has gone on and read basically everything by her, and this is now my fourth book. I had been aware of her for a while beforehand because back in like 2012, I was reading a lot of science fiction short stories. Spaces like Strange Horizons is the one that I think still exists. I think I talked about like Subterranean Magazine when I talked about Kiernan's books. I was reading Expanded Horizons and probably a half to a full dozen other spots that almost certainly don't exist anymore. And I remember coming across Marina Garcia's work a number of times, and like her sticking out as one of those authors who I was like, I'm excited to read her full novels someday. Never got around to it until Mexican Gothic, and then I was like, oh fuck, this is some of the smartest writing about and in genre that I've maybe ever seen. Um, it's also like just like punching me directly in the wheelhouse. um, with the Perkins Gilman with the Lovecraftiana sort of the mushrooms, just everything about that book just oof. Uh, um, and then since then I've read Velvet Was the Night, which I think was also before this channel started, and then Certain Dark Things, which I've talked about, and now Silver Nitrate, which I'm talking about now. And as I was talking to my coworker, I was kind of like splitting those up and being like, what are my like, these hit, and what are my like, these are fun but don't like fucking break me. And I think Silver Nitrate hits in the same category as Velvet Was the Night, whereas I think Certain Dark Things hit more in the same category as Mexican Gothic. Although Mexican Gothic is its own category, in the last few years, like it's like that in Sorrowland. Um, I guess I have explicitly said in the past that since starting a job as a bookseller, Mexican Gothic, Sorrowland, and The Furrows are the three things that have hit me absolutely the hardest in terms of fiction, especially. Um, all fucking great books, and I think Silver Nitrate's a very good book, and it'll be it's a very fun read. There's a consistent problem I have with Moreno Garcia is I think um, the first 20 or 30 pages of all of her books are not very good. I think she has, I don't know if it's her thing as an author or if it's a requirement of publication or what, but her introductions to characters always run way too long to me, and they always sort of feel formulaic, even if they're not the same every single time. Obviously, these are all wildly different characters in different genres in different time frames. Um, but there's something about reading the first 20, 30 pages of a Marina Garcia novel where I'm like, am I gonna enjoy this at all? If that includes Mexican Gothic, I think it was established in Mexican Gothic for me. Obviously, it's the first book I read. That I don't think Silver Nitrate pushes past. On some level, I'm like, I wonder how much this is like publisher influenced of just being like, no, um, you have to, build these characters in such a way that like, despite the fact that this is in some sense historical fiction, it needs to be relatable to a modern reader. That kind of marketing logic. And again, I just literally don't know where that comes from, but I have noticed it across the 4 books of hers that I've read. I guess maybe a little bit less in certain dark things, or maybe I'm just forgetting it. Um, but yeah, Silver Nitrate is the story of Montserrat and Tristan. Since this is like extremely not out, even though this is just for bees, and if you're not a bee, you shouldn't be watching this. I won't like do the whole thing. Um, but Montserrat is a uh, an audio engineer, like a freelance audio engineer who primarily works in film and animation um, in Mexico City in the 90s at some point. And I think they say 92, 93, I believe, is the like period. In like December of 92. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Um, just finished this book today. Already losing details. Hey, you got a bee brain, you know. Uh, uh, and then the other narrator, Tristan, is um, sort of a former actor who still like gets gigs here and there, but was like in some bigger soaps up until about a decade ago when a car accident led to the death of his girlfriend and co-star. Um, and it's about the two of them, and it's about movies and runes and magic and Nazi occultists. Um, I think it's a fun read. I think it's a really fun read. I think there are I think the things that Moreno-Garcia does well, if we're talking about the things that I don't particularly love in her work, which is to say the first 20 or 30 pages most of the time, um, she is unparalleled, I think, as far as my knowledge goes, and it's not perfect, but I would say it's not non-existent. In terms of writers who can take genre and blend subgenre together in such a way that makes everything being represented, like all of the genres, extremely legible and very fun, and also like kind of fucks with them, but not like in a I'm blowing up your binaries, not in a deconstructive way necessarily, um, but in a like I have a depth of knowledge of for Velvet Was the Night, right? It's like of the noir thriller and of the all my little buddies are obscured. Um of sort of the I guess the jukebox musical um sort of novel. I've never heard that applied to a novel before personally, but we can do anything here. There we go. That's the frame I actually like. Um, um, for Silver Nitrate, it is a mixture of both like 50s filmed horror and 90s filmed horror, and some of the in between. With the with the Nazi occultist subgenre of horror and thriller-ish kind of stuff. I think it's a little vaguer in this book, or maybe I'm just less familiar with it than I was of things like the touchstones of Mexican Gothic. Um, but I think when she's firing on that level, when she is pulling in genre, she is so fucking good. And by genre, I partially mean um, taking tropes is the wrong word, but let's say flags or signifiers, sort of broadly understood um, signifiers of a genre, right? With Mexican Gothic, for instance, there's a big spooky house owned by white people. That's the Gothic to me. In Silver Nitrate, it's a complicated system of runes. I won't say any more than that. Uh, when she's pulling those things in and playing with them in the narrative, I think she just absolutely outshines literally everyone I've ever read um, that I can think of right now. Maybe I'm pretty sure that's just a flatly true statement. Um, but maybe I don't have the best memory in the world. Anyway, um, on in terms of what Silvia Moreno Garcia does incredibly well, I think she absolutely fucking nails it in this book. Um, and I think there's better relationship stuff in this book than I'm used to from some of her other stuff. Yeah. And I think the thing that like truly shines in Silver Nitrate is like um the digging out of the past and the way that people work. And I think that's another thing that she's actually just very good at, generally speaking, now that I'm actually saying that out loud. But like she is very good at producing a certain kind of character who moves through different social spaces in different in intentionally different ways, and sort of being able to characterize that very well, first of all, and then second of all, to pull at that thread and then come out empty a couple times over the course of the narrative in terms of pacing, and then like finally do the reveal. Um, I think that is sort of the exemplary thing here, and is I think true generally of her writing. I think that's another strength of her work in general, at least that I've read. Again, I've not read a good chunk of it at this point. Um, yeah, like wasn't there a yeah? So I'm missing the daughter of Doctor Moreau, Gods of Jade and Shadow, Signal to Noise, and the Beautiful Ones, and Untamed Shore. And that's not even mentioning like the myriad collections that she has edited and released through Innsmouth Free Press, and yeah, etc., etc. Um, I don't know. I don't think I have a shit ton to say about Silver Nitrate. I think you know, they say 13 minutes into talking about Silver Nitrate. Um, I but I do feel like I've been spinning wheels. Although I think I said some not terrible stuff about what I genuinely believe about about the books I've read by Marina Garcia. I mean I my suspicion is that she also just rules. And I am always excited to see a new book by her pass by me, and part of that is that like struggle of just being like, there are things about this that just do not fucking click with me, about this writer's general output, about this or that particular book. Um, but they don't like not click with me where I'm like, and I'm done. They are always like, okay, this is an interesting thing. This is a moment that I see repeated that I want to sort of I want to pull that thread. I want to pull that thread. Um, and every time I do, I enjoy it. So I think Silver Nitrate is a good book that I liked reading. So I don't know. This is the Just Bees book club, all right? Leave me alone. um, thanks for not watching.